Well, good evening once again, and welcome to the Monday Review Show on a Tuesday. Why? Well, I did tell you I was having some technical issues, and those technical issues I can now tell you was the strength of my signal, which wasn't very good, and many of you may have noticed over the past weeks. And I thank you for persevering. Was that we used to lose the picture, and then it'll come back on again and we lose it again, etc. So I've now got a huge upgrade and booster to that system, the system that I have, and hopefully it won't go and play silly buggers with me tonight. So thank you for persevering, and thank you, Keith, also for persevering. We will be back next week at the usual time, Monday night at 8 o'clock, but this is now Tuesday in case your eyes are deceiving you. And thank you for tuning in. As always, if you'd like to get involved in the show, I'd love you to do that. Send in your questions or your comments, and we'll do our very, very best to answer those. As usual, of course, this is all about referees and refereeing. And I'm delighted to be joined once again on maybe his night off. But I don't know if you have a night off, Keith Hackett.
No.
Former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's the Premier League. Let me get this right. Professional Games Match Officials Limited. I'm not having a good night.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
And also the man responsible for introducing goal line technology, which has been hugely successful over the last season or two. Keith, thanks very much again for joining me on a Tuesday night, but we will be back to Monday night next week.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So a lot of talk and a lot of comments on the incident where the West Ham player, Pagueta, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, was red carded for literally getting up the referee's nose, just would not shut up. And the referee, Darren England, gave him lots of opportunities, plenty of time to do it. He still persisted, and the referee rightly gave a red card. You'd agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, can we learn anything from it? I think, in fairness to Darren England, he dealt with the situation. He didn't lose, or his body language didn't suddenly get angry. He remained calm, which is to his great credit. He tried to involve the captain to calm things down. So again, he was making use of everything possible. And then on the showing of the red card, this player then applauded Darren England. He sort of started clapping and was reluctant.
Very sarcastic.
Yeah, he was reluctant to go off. What can we learn from it? Afterwards, this player posted on social media the fact that he was under some personal pressures, and the football authorities should deal lightly with it and should help him. Well, I'm quite clear.
Yeah, right.
He is an employee of a football club. If he's got a problem, psychologically, or family pressures, or all these things that in life can happen, then he goes to his manager and says, I've got a problem, I need help. And the club then will be, with the people that they have, with the specialists that they have, give him help. Secondary, or the second point is, if he doesn't receive that help, then for someone that's earning tens of thousands of pounds per week, maybe, and living in London, presumably, maybe a visit to Harley Street and to get help himself. So I understand his position. I sympathise that he's got some issues that might have transmitted into this situation. However, Darren England applied the law. He was patient. He didn't get angry. He produced the yellow, produced the red. And I think that there was absolutely no option. Now, the point I think is important here to young referees. If you're faced with this situation on dissent, make certain that you include in your report a detailed analysis, if you like, or statement of what took place. And in addition, once you've shown the red card, the reaction of the player by applauding your decision, because that is a further sanction that then should be applied by the authorities. Now, what else can I advise? I always say to referees, without showing any sign of weakness, be strong with that yellow card. Be authoritative in your approach, not soft. And then understand that it's two to make an argument. So was there an opportunity, having issued that yellow card, was there an opportunity for the referee to move away? Not to stand there and argue. Now, this whole aspect is not a criticism of Darren England. He did his job. I think he did it well. Applaud what he did. However, always look at opportunities that perhaps in the build-up, a relationship between a player becomes a little bit tarnished. They're unhappy with you. Is there any route in which you either get out of his space or you actually try to have a conversation to calm that particular player down without being public?
No, I thought the referee was correct. First of all, he had to stay there because it was a free kick and he was standing with the ball. So what's he going to do? Just run away and hide till this guy cools down? Absolute nonsense, Keith. I would not in the slightest way have any criticism of Darren England at all.
Correct.
He did his job. The player persisted. His teammates should have dragged him away.
Yeah.
But they didn't do a great job on that.
So they didn't.
It was inevitably going to, and in fact, I think at one time, Darren England had moved away. He had moved away about 5 yards or so from the incident.
Yeah.
And then came back and issued the red card. So the player had ample opportunity. And as you say, if he's got psychological problems, he's dealing with a professional club. He's earning thousands of pounds a week. We don't know how much, don't really care anyway. So why doesn't he go and get private help? Or the club should send him? Or why would the club put him on the field if he has these problems? Nonsense. Absolutely no question that the referee is in any way responsible. He did what he had to do, and he gave the player every opportunity to move away, which he didn't take. Yeah. And his teammates should have been there to take him away, and they didn't help either. So I have no problem. The only problem I have is he'll probably get one game because there's 2 yellow cards, effectively.
Well, I think that clapping or applauding of a referee's decision is derogatory, unacceptable, and therefore I think there should be a further sanction on that. So I think overall Darren England had a good performance. And before we go on to the next point, I want to recall that in the Brentford game, I thought that referee Sam Barrett again produced an outstanding performance. There were 3 incidents what I consider to be very important. One, he was in a terrific position around the penalty area when he detected rightly an act of simulation and did not hesitate to show the yellow card. Terrific referee. Point 2, there was a foul in that distance between halfway line and penalty area. He waited. There was a clear foul. He waited. He applied an advantage. He followed the play. The play went into the penalty area. The forward was penalised, fouled. Bang on the spot. Penalty kick given. With firmness, no VAR. I've given it. And then later in the game, in a similar situation, without advantage, he's following play right on the edge of the penalty area, another foul, instantly points to the penalty mark. Sold the decisions brilliantly. So I think, often we're accused of not supporting our referees or being critical of our referees. This is a show where we try to analyse to help and educate referees who are coming through the system. These are our listeners. And I just think that Sam Barrett did a terrific job. Really, really good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's an up and coming young referee, which is will will
Yeah.
will stand him in good stead for the future.
Yeah.
Keepers now are accepting, if you like, that the fact that they cannot hold the ball for longer than 8 seconds, and they're getting on with the game. But on the other hand, they've almost circumvented that. They're getting around that now by pretending to be injured, which allows the medical guys to come on because they know the keeper doesn't have to go off like other players. And in the process, all the players are going to the touchline to get advice under the pretense of getting water. Ha ha ha. They're going over in the middle of winter, they're looking for water. Come on. And they're getting coaching instructions. That surely has to stop.
Yes, I think that I think it's a real problem for the referees. It's not an easy one for the referees.
No, it's not.
You know, a player says he's injured, then we almost have to accept that. But it's happening too often, and it's spoiling the flow of the game. It's tactical, and you see. I think there was a situation this weekend where the technical area indicated to the goalkeeper very publicly, "Go down," and the goalkeeper went down. The trainers came on. They didn't even have to look. There was nothing wrong with the goalkeeper. They knew, and the technical bits were going off. I was interested that the IFAB have recognised that this is a problem, and they are considering a situation where the goalkeeper is obviously has to be treated, but they're saying the team will have to send a player off, i.e., he goes to the touchline and he stands there for 30 seconds minimum, a little bit longer if you're a shrewd referee. Somebody's pulling your leg, then that 30 seconds, I've forgotten to look at the watch, maybe a minute. And he's getting frustrated with me, but I'm getting the message across that I'm not happy with your actions, mate. And when he comes on and he moans, I'll have a word and say, look, don't try and con me. I know what's going off. But I think the IFAB are saying, look, let us look at this situation. It is a problem. And let's deal with it. My view is that let's do the treatment. Let's carry on with the treatment. I bet that goalkeeper will get up very quickly if he's not injured.
I wonder
what rugby do.
I'm just thinking out loud here. If the goalkeeper is injured, they should take him off and send on the reserve goalkeeper for 30 seconds.
Well, I think that the old scenario is that somehow the game's either got to agree that at such and such a time in a game there's a water break, whatever that is, if it's needed. You know, I listen to lots of experts in nutrition, diet, medicine, football health. I've discussed at times. Liquid into the body is certainly important. But, you know, we're in the middle of the winter, aren't we? We're not perspiring as much. I just think that it is a problem, and it's a problem for referees. And it's not just goalkeepers that are going down. It's other players as well. It's all let's have an injury and let's have a timeout, break up the game, break up the flow. And there are a number of teams that are doing it.
I saw an incident in one of the games during the week as well where a player was down and the referee was quite happy. I don't know who the referee was. Might have been Craig Possum. And he was quite happy that this player was not injured as a result of a tackle, but he went down. When the play went on and on and on and on, eventually the ball went out of play. He came back to the player, you okay? Do you need the trainer to go on? No, I'm fine. No. And then he gets up. So he was, you 2 and 2 is still 4, Keith. He was trying to get the game stopped. As a tactical move, because he got a message from the touchline by voicemail, voice or by sign, go down, stay down. But yet, surely he should have been cautioned for feigning
Yes.
injury. He didn't want the trainers on
No.
because then he knew he'd have to go off for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But he was okay when the referee came and spoke to him. That is nonsense.
Yeah, I think that in fairness, in recent weeks, Errol, I have seen referees taking a slightly more proactive approach on this. And rather than stopping the game immediately, they've, players feigning injury, feigning that they're being fouled and whatever. And the referees, Anthony Taylor literally said to the player, dangerous though it is, get up. And the game continued. Good on him.
Yeah, and I have noticed that actually, Keith, the in Premier League referees are certainly not stopping the game now for every little whatever, and they know when players are trying to hoodwink them, and they're letting the play go on, and very quickly after that, the players get up, and that's great.
Yeah.
You're watching the Monday Review Show on Tuesday this week because, as I mentioned last week, had a technical problem, and that technical problem, thankfully, so far has been solved and will not bother us again in the future. And I'm joined by former Premier League, former FIFA referee, and former head of the PGMOL, Keith Hackett. We're discussing all things refereeing. Keith, there was a bit of a report during the week that where the goalkeepers now only get the 8 seconds, and they very quickly learned to get rid of the ball, or at least put it down after 8 seconds. And that seems to be working very well.
Yes.
But now I saw somewhere that there are suggestions that for throw-ins and goal kicks, that there could be a minimum time on that as well. Have you seen that?
I did see it. And, anything that advances or improves the amount of playing time. Remember, in the Premier League, the average is about 52 minutes of actual playing time.
Oh, my goodness.
And therefore, there's a lot of lost time.
Yeah.
I was interested in the big game at the weekend with Anthony Taylor because a player, he clearly indicated, Anthony Taylor, doing his job, this is where I want the throw-in taken. Not pedantic, but indicated where in the area he wanted to throw in. The player completely ignored him, went down the line, far more, 10 yards away from where the throw-in should be taken. He threw it and Taylor blew immediately and awarded the throw-in to the opposition. Now, and I suddenly went, whoa, just a minute. Have I been caught out here? And I checked the law. And the law on throw-ins is interesting because in the very last paragraph of offences and sanctions, the throw-in, for any other offence, the throw-in is taken by a player of the opposing team. So, by the player taking the throw-in from the incorrect position, ball in play, he has committed an offence, and Taylor, the first time in, I think, about 8 or 9 years, at the highest level of the game, I have in fairness seen it imposed at grassroots level, but here, in fairness to him, he's got the message across. And I think there was a bit of, from the commentators, a bit of a humble mumble and stumbling and like, oh, just a minute. I hope they've read the law as I did, because I had to go back to it and check it. So good on him. Good on him.
I wonder how many of you out there knew that.
Yeah.
That the throw-in, if it's taken from the wrong place, can be awarded to the opposition.
Yeah.
Like similar again, and we're always comparing to rugby, that the referee giving a penalty to one team, as an incident happens, he can reverse his decision and give it to the other side.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what happened here.
Yeah.
And I remember many years ago, like you, that we used to do that, but it seems to have gone off the scale, as it were. Yeah. And in fact, in some instances, Keith, with these balls that are positioned along the touchline, the players are grabbing the nearest ball, and they'll always grab the one nearest to the way they're throwing the So they're
Yes.
stealing 10 yards already by that, and then they'll
Correct.
still steal a few more. So
Yeah.
referees really need to tighten up on,
Yeah.
on that kind of
Yeah.
stealing ground.
On the other point, Errol, just to make it clear, talk about discussions at the IFAB and FIFA in terms of potential law changes. There is an announcement, I think today, that I've read where at the World Cup coming up, they will use VAR on corner kicks.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So I think that if you remember a few weeks ago, we had, is the ball in, is it out? I think it was given out when in fact millimeters of the ball was still that circumference on a line, which is difficult.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to look at the video, look at it again and again. The assistant referee's got one look and he's got to be in an ideally position and he's looking through a goal post and all those difficulties. But, it's going to be interesting to watch that, to see whether in fact corner flag to corner flag now is monitored by VAR in order to get the correct decision. My view, if they're listening, IFAB and the FIFA, is let us get the grips with the wrestling and the grappling and the pushing and the holding and the blocking in the penalty area. Let's do something about it, because, I've given a lot of thought to what you said a few weeks ago, Errol, and that is, like free kicks, a metre apart. I think your idea of a metre apart at corner kicks is spot on. And I think that would resolve some of the issues that we see, particularly now where I think there's, in recent weeks, that increase of, did he block the goalkeeper? Didn't he block? Chalobah scored in the Arsenal match from a corner. Enzo had in fact made contact, slight blocking offence before the ball was arrived, but had then moved, still in an offside position, away from the goalkeeper. He wasn't in the flight path. It was correct to award the goal. Again, with fans, particularly on social media, we have to remind them that a player in an offside position is not, unless he commits an offence, is not, he's not flagged or given offside.
Yeah. Yeah. The VAR on the corner kicks, will that be the ball, to whether the ball's fully out of play? Will it also apply to the corner kick being taken and going out of play and coming back in again? Or where does it?
I assume, yeah. I think, first of all, the assumption is it a corner kick? Is it not?
Yeah.
So let's check that decision. Has it gone out of play at any stage leading up to the corner kick or at the corner kick? So I think it's just a follow through. I don't think it's a big deal personally. I think that there are many people that get concerned that, just a minute, we're not actually applying VAR as successfully as we should. Why give them another task added to the current criteria? But for me, I think that is probably a sensible move to say, right, let's not have any issues about a corner kick.
Just off the top of your head, Kate, do you foresee VAR becoming more involved in decisions, like allowing teams to have 3 appeals like they do in cricket and that sort of thing? Would you foresee that in the future, maybe?
I think I think that the impact of VAR and the way it is operated in the PGMOL is less successful than in the MLS and in games that I watch at Europe. I'm not saying that they're all clear and they don't make errors. I think we struggle with what is clear and obvious, and I think at times VAR dominates the referee. And I think it was good this weekend because there was an incident where Chris Kavanagh, can't remember the game, was called to the screen. He didn't award a penalty kick. I think he was being asked to review the screen, and rightly he went to the screen, had a look, came back, and went, "I'm happy with the decision I've given," and credit him in doing that, because I think I'd like to see the operation as Scotland are using it with Willie Collum. And his principle appears to be, he said it in fairness, I want the referee to make the decision. Anything that's doubtful, I want the referee to the screen under the criteria, and he makes the call. And if he goes against his VAR, so be it.
Yeah.
We'll resolve the issue post-match. And I do think, despite the criticism, that generally Scotland are operating VAR in a much better way than in England.
Yeah. Look, it's never going to be easy to be a referee, and it never was easy going back. But there were times when you and I went out there on a Sunday morning and refereed on our own, without linesmen as they were then, and just had to make the best of it. Many people, as you know, was it last season, they put it to a vote of the Premier League teams. Did they want VAR taken away?
Yeah.
And the only team that said yes was the team that put forward the proposal, which was Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah.
Everybody else said no. But yet, during the season, they'll come out and they'll bitch and moan about it. So the old story just can't please all the people all the time, can you?
No, I think it's the nature of the game. I think that, look, let's make it quite clear. You're absolutely right. In our day, I don't think there was the forensic exam. Yes, there was on certain big games that we officiated, make no mistake about that. But in reality, week in, week out, the forensic examination of referees' performances on decisions, and the comments that I make and others make, of really, really important. I'd like also to mention one thing, if I may.
Sure.
I had the pleasure of coming to Dublin. I had the pleasure of being a UEFA observer, like many, many people in UEFA, coming to Dublin to either watch a game. My last visit was to observe a game at St. Patrick's. Every time that I went to Dublin, I would be met by Paddy Daly.
Yeah,
an outstanding individual, a wonderful guy who sadly passed away last weekend. And I know you've come across him. He was a great friend of Dermot Gallagher. I had an exchange with Dermot in midweek because I wanted Dermot to know that I'd spent 15, 20 minutes with Paddy one evening prior to watching the game, when he just extolled the virtues of Dermot Gallagher and his refereeing. He was so proud of Dermot reaching the Premier League level of officiating. So to his family and to his many, many friends, and Paddy had many friends around the world.
Indeed.
I send our condolences and sadness that such a legend, and I don't use that word lightly, has passed our shores. Rest in peace.
Indeed, and to his wife Muriel and his children and so on. And that funeral, by the way, for any Irish people, and particularly around the Dublin area, is tomorrow morning at 11:30 in Ballygall Church. And people in the Finglas area where Paddy lived will certainly know where that is. And our deepest sympathy to his family and friends. Great guy. I was with him a few times on the line when I was just starting off at the Premier League.
Wow.
Great guy. And so we come to the end of another show. Thanks again, Keith, for your time, for making yourself available tonight. And thank you out there for making yourself available on this Tuesday night. But we will be back next Monday, same time, same place, and we got through the evening without any interruptions. Fantastic.
Terrific.
Thanks. Good night, and thank you all.
Good night.